Hello, my name is Christopher Hills. I'm here with Keith White. Keith is the Senior Vice President for the GAP. And you're out of California?
I am, San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Yes.
Well, thank you for coming up. We're here at the ASIS conference in Seattle, Washington, and I'm going to ask a few questions, and we're going to have a chat.
Sure.
Keith, thank you for coming up. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
And the GAP, how many stores do you have?
We have approximately 3,500 worldwide. We do business in 50 countries, and a lot of people don't realize that Gap consists of 6 brands, not just Gap, but Old Navy, Banana Republic, Piperline, Athleta, and Intermix. So
wow.
quite a big organization.
I had no idea. So I know all those brands, of course, but I didn't know they were all under one umbrella.
One umbrella and worldwide.
Wow. So when you say worldwide, like Asia and the UK and
everywhere. 50 different countries. So, everywhere from Europe to Asia. We even open franchisees in Africa.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So your risk has gone up considerably, especially over the last few months.
It has. You say the risk has gone up. The perception that the risk has gone up
it sure went up
is
in
what you worry about.
Now,
yeah, it's the perception. And I always say to my team, 70% of our job is communicating.
Yes.
And no matter how real or perceived the threat is, if you win the communications battle, you can move to action that's meaningful. And I think we've done a great job of just making sure that everyone is educated and has a high level of awareness on what the risks are, and we have a great action plan just in case something does happen, and that always helps.
So how do you deal with such a spread out organization like that with so many stores? And I was thinking you had one brand with now you have diversified brands and that many stores.
Well, the term I love to use is ubiquitous.
Yes.
We try to be everywhere all the time, and I surround myself with outstanding leaders in the industry. I just have a wonderful staff, and we have a way of reaching all of those different stores and over 130,000 employees in a way that makes them feel like we're always there, and we're always there to support and help and protect. So we try to be ubiquitous.
So my original course of conversation is normally surrounding how you got into the security industry. So we'll start there, and then we'll kind of move through that. But I have some more questions that have come up just as we're moving.
Sure.
So how did you first get started in the security industry?
Well, I received my undergrad in law enforcement administration from Western Illinois University, and I'm embarrassed to say that I kind of fell into the industry, and I shouldn't be embarrassed about that because I think a lot of people have fallen into the industry, but it's been an industry that I think is wonderful, and a lot of people don't understand.
I don't even think they know it's here.
Not only do they not know it's here, but many of them don't know that it's 3 times the size of the law enforcement industry. I mean, private security is a really large industry with a number of career paths. Well, I was working the midnight shift at Burger King, and a buddy of mine called me up and said, "Hey, they want me to interview for this loss prevention job, but I already have one. Are you interested?" I said, "Absolutely. By the way, what's loss prevention?" So I had no idea what it was. I went for the interview, and I found out that this was the perfect intersection between investigating and identifying the bad guy, but managing and leading a business and leading a team. It was just this perfect blend, so it worked out really well for me.
I think a lot of us originally got into security in college, trying to find that job that you could do at the same time.
Yes.
Right? So you could study and go to school during the day.
Yes.
So from school, you morphed into working into the security industry through loss prevention.
Yes.
And you kind of moved up to the...
Well, I started at a company called Zaire on the south side of Chicago, working in their distribution center as a loss prevention supervisor. Great job.
Yeah.
And then moved up from there to actually manage the loss prevention program in the distribution center. And then got tapped on the shoulders to go work for a company called Marshall Fields to be the assistant manager at their distribution center, which was much larger. And then ultimately worked my way over into the stores organization. Marshall Fields was acquired by Target, And I had this wonderful 11-year career with Target, working in a number of different capacities for them. Then ultimately landed at Gap, overseeing their program.
And Target is a very forward-thinking company when it comes to loss prevention.
Absolutely.
They have a great program.
Absolutely. We had an opportunity under King Roger's leadership to be extremely innovative and to be the first in retail to do so many different things. And it's something that I've always treasured and could try to continue to do myself.
I've gone through one of their security operations centers, and I was impressed.
Oh yeah,
having built out a few. So, in moving through that, what was your main decision for moving from Target into the organization you're in now?
Well, it doesn't happen often that you get asked to be the leader of an organization like Gap, a multinational company with a well-known brand and unbelievable values. And once I found out that they were considering me for the opportunity, it was pretty easy for me to consider them. And one thing led to another, and now I've been here for 14 years and have had an illustrious career. I've been able to travel to places I didn't even know existed and deal with a number of different challenges. And also, I'm really pleased to say we've had a number of triumphs as well.
Well, with an organization that large, every day probably brings a new, interesting security challenge.
If you are really into this industry, that's the best part of our jobs. There's nothing mundane about what we do. No 2 days are ever alike. And that's one of the things that keeps the fire burning in the belly, and that's why I enjoy the industry so much.
So when you were talking about being such a diverse geographical footprint, I was thinking about social media and how technology plays into your security program and how you're able to talk to all these folks at one time to ensure that things are either going well or...
Well, when I use the term ubiquitous, I probably could have went further with that, because part of being ubiquitous is being virtual. And today's security executive who's coming up through the ranks will not have the luxury of managing one location or one organization in one country, or even one continent for that matter. They will absolutely have to have in mind the fact that they'll have to be able to oversee and travel to and manage people who are not in the same building, not in the same city, not in the same country, speak a different language, et cetera, et cetera. I actually have several directors in places like China and London and that type of thing.
So one of the things that in reading your background, I noted that you not only were working with safety and within your organization, but now you've also developed a new preparedness program for them going forward?
Well, it's business continuity planning, which under that umbrella, we have a number of different protocols for responding to active shooter. We have protocols around redundancies for making the organization absolutely resilient from a systems perspective. We have things as simple as training our employees how to deliver CPR and first aid. For their own personal safety and in their own personal life. So we run the gambit. So I don't know that I call that new, but I would call it definitely comprehensive.
Well, I guess my point there was that all of us as security practitioners tend to wear a couple hats.
Yes.
And as the organization looks to somebody to mitigate risk, a lot of times the security person has a really good understanding of that risk, and we tend to put on more hats as we go along. So I'm assuming that as that progression over the last 14 years, you've worn more and more hats.
There's been an absolute evolution. When I started in my current role, I was part of the BCP strategy and evolved to owning it. So you're absolutely right. You go from just thinking of yourself as a first responder to preparedness, to crisis management, to business continuity, and being able to manage the company coming back up after a major disaster or business disruption. Yes, always, always. You're absolutely right.
What would you say to somebody
Just
who's
want to cut
new?
for a second here. We can kind of wrap this up a little bit because Joe just called me up there for some stuff.
Okay, I'll stop it right now.
If you just want to wrap it up real quick here with that.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, Chris, yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to, but
No
I thought it
problem.
was important for him to capture.
1
this
minute.
stuff. Okay.
1 minute, and he's up.
Yep, no,
Okay.
we're good.
Yep, so if you want to ask one more question or just
Yep.
an exit thing and then
Yeah,
good to go.
we'll do it. You want to take another position?
No, let's just stay here. We'll
Okay.
so it doesn't change.
Ready?
Yep, go ahead.
All right. So, my next question would be more towards a new security person or a person that's going through school for security management.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to them looking at the security market and making that first step into our market or our industry?
I would say make sure that you ground yourself in business classes, really understanding the fundamentals of business, the fundamentals of accounting, the fundamentals of managing and leading teams. And I know they're probably sitting there saying, but what about investigations, and what about physical security, and what about some of the more traditional things? And I would argue that'll always be there, but your ability to soar and understand and become much more of a business leader who owns this function will be infinite if you understand those very basic concepts, but they propel you in the business world.
Right, being able to walk into the C-suite and speak their language. is
Absolutely.
paramount. Thank you very much, Keith.
My
I appreciate
pleasure.
your time.
My pleasure.